So I want to follow up on that thread, but just on that topic of particular areas that have been affected. Chairman Brown, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to submit a letter for the record from the city of Springfield in our state, the southwestern part of our state, which I think highlights a very real example of this particular concern, straight from the horse's mouth itself. And now this letter, I want to quote from it. Springfield has seen a surge in population through immigration that has significantly impacted our ability as a community to produce enough housing opportunities for all. Springfield's Haitian population has increased 15 to 20,000 over the last 4 years in a community of under 60,000 previous residents, putting a significant strain on our resources and ability to provide ample housing for all of our residents. And end quote there. And Mike,
no objection. So
thank you. In my conversations with folks in Springfield, it's not just housing. They're trying to build 5,000 new housing units, which is a very Herculean task in a town of about 55,000 people. But it's also hospital services, it's school services, there are a whole host of ways in which this immigration problem, I think, is having very real human consequences. But I want to go back to just one other question, Chair Powell, on this immigration and labor supply question. So one of the euphemistic ways in which economists, I think, sometimes talk about labor supply and immigration is they'll say something to the effect of, well, an increase in labor supply has put downward pressure on labor prices. And what they're effectively saying is that increased immigration has put downward pressure on the wages of American workers. I wonder, when you hear sort of your colleagues and other economists outside of the Fed talk about the influx of immigration and the fact that it, I think, admittedly has put downward pressure on wages. Okay, so there obviously that has put some downward pressure on inflation, but it also puts downward pressure on the wages that people earn to pay for their families. Why do we see that as a good thing? Or maybe that's wrong. Maybe the premise is fundamentally incorrect, but why do so many economists treat an influx of new labor as a good thing? If labor is constrained, labor supply is constrained, doesn't that lead to rising wages for American workers?
So I'm certainly not trying to put a value judgment on it. I will say that this is all happening over the last couple of years in a context of an extremely tight labor market. Now a little bit less tight, significantly less tight, but you've got a worker shortage. You've got businesses who have jobs that are open. You have, more than one job opening for every unemployed person. So you've got a very tight labor market, and it's addressing that. And we're having wage increases are still very high, but they're coming down to a more sustainable level.